Right. I have the pleasure of welcoming Siobhan Matthews to us this evening. Obviously we have the by-election Thursday the 23rd of July, and Siobhan was successful in being elected as the new councillor for the North Ward. So Siobhan, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But now we get down to business and the process end of tonight. So what I need you to do is come up to the front. I will be asking you to complete your declaration of acceptance of office and to make sure that it's all done. It will be on camera and you'll be reading it out. And then after that, just sign it, and then you are a fully fledged councillor. You've done it.
Okay, are we ready? Okay. I, Siobhan Matthews, have been elected to the office of Sandwich Town Council. I declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the code as to the conduct which is expected of members of the Sandwich Town Council. As per Schedule 12 of the Local Government Act 1972, I consent to receive full council meetings by the electronic methods. I understand I may withdraw this consent at any time.
That's it. Thank you very much. Do you now need to sign?
Okay.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Oh, sorry, you want to know.
There we go. So thank you, Siobhan, and please stay if you want. We don't need to be a member of these committees, but I just welcome you and wish you all the best, and it's going to be great to have you on board. Thank you. Dean, you want to just take check your
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, good evening everybody and welcome to this meeting of Sandwich Council's Finance and General Purposes Committee on Wednesday the 29th of July. And the first item on the agenda is apologies for absences received from Town Clerk.
I have apologies from Councillor Hungerson, who has personal commitment to Councillor E-Card, who might work with me.
Thank you.
I have to leave at 7:10.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We'll try and get through as much as we can by then. Thank you. Declarations of interest. Are there any disclosable pecuniary interests or other significant interests that councillors would like to disclose in respect of items on the agenda tonight? Take that as none. Thank you. The third item on the agenda then is the minutes of the previous finance and general purpose meeting, which was held on the 24th of June. My thanks to Councillor Chuka for chairing that meeting in my absence. Are there any comments? If not, then would somebody like to propose them? Councillor Pennington. Seconded by Councillor Wiles. Everybody in favour? I shall abstain because I wasn't here. So there are 2 abstentions. It's passed. And Councillor Chuka, if you'd be kind enough to sign. The next item is public participation. Have we had any requests for public participation? Great. Thank you. And so we move on to agenda item 5, to receive and approve the Sandwich Town Council payment schedule for the end of June 26. And you should have this document, which amounts to £2,734 gross. Has anybody got any comments on this? Okay, anybody willing to propose it then? shall we do them all in block at the end? Let's do them all in block, shall we? The second item B, 5B, is to approve the bank account reconciliation statement. Does anybody have any comments on this document? Okay, thank you. And the third document is attachment 5C, the financial statement cash book. Does anybody have any comments on this document? Okay. And so, turning over the page, 5D, the budget variance report to the end of June. Does anybody have any comments on this document? Okay. All right, is anybody willing to propose all of these documents? Councillor Chuka, seconded by Councillor Morehouse, and unanimously approved. All right, thank you. The next item is to review the action log. So can we just work down the ongoing actions? The first one is the certification, which Julian, I know, is a rolling feast, so you're continuously monitoring that and we can look at that in due course. The next item is about the health and safety at work, and I'm pleased to see that all staff have completed their first aid training. In terms of the safe place of work, again, this is an ongoing list in terms of making sure that people have got the right desk set up and stuff like that, and that's all encompassed in the above, is it?
I haven't done that, whether the town clerk hasn't, as far as people seeking positions and requirements on that.
Yeah, I have specific risk assessment for specific member of staff and public at the moment.
Okay, so can we just add that to the action list to make sure, because I know there have been some movements in offices
Yes.
and so forth, everybody, I can't remember the official term for it.
DSC.
Right display.
DSC.
DSC.
Yeah, displays screen equipment.
Okay, thank you. The next item is to do with the local government reorganisation. And we received a holding email on the end of June, but there is a few years of work ahead on that.
7 years.
Okay, thank you. The next item is the asset register, and we need to prepare a detailed asset register for insurance purposes, and that's going to go to the September meeting, as I understand. So we're on stream for that. That's be the next meeting.
Asset register, I've done an asset review, an asset register, as far, what sort of content would that be?
That was in respect of insurance. We had to provide a detailed insurance asset register.
We were talking about this in the office. I think we need to come to the committee in September with a clear assessment of what we need to do before we even start doing it, because there's insurance issues and there's also asset register issues.
John, right?
Yeah, just add to that, there's two aspects to this. It's the insurance renewal, which is in next March, where we have to start getting a full schedule of everything we have with a value. And then there's the other side of things, which is actually just literally a register of everything we own. So if we've got lots of things that have no value whatsoever, and we're going the roof and we're getting rid of them, then we remove them from the list. But just basically something that shows a list of what we have, and then something that shows the value of what we have. That twofold, and I think that's the actual verification on the assets, from the size of buildings down to the size of computers. We'll probably be between ourselves that will have to go through and do that on different sites.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, obviously, the value of the properties, probably a huge lot of difference between what the book price is and what the reality is.
No, I understand that, but I think we need to be clear for insurance purposes, because there are a number of valuables around,
Yes.
as we can see here. And it's not just a question of listing them.
No.
We may need to get somebody in to value them and so forth to
Yeah.
comply with the insurance requirements. And if it's next March, it's only 6 months away, then I feel there's probably quite a bit of work to do.
We've spoken to the insurance company about that already, because they actually have agents who can do it, or even a point our own, who will actually deal with obviously the high value items and the regalia and that side of things, where they are of a specialist nature and have a specialist value. And obviously, there's not a huge number of items like that within the council, but they are ones which will have to be valued separately.
Okay, well, as long as we're all got a clear understanding, especially to meet the insurance requirements and we're progressing towards it.
Yes, the issue we have is that revaluing the very high ticket items is going to cost quite a lot of
Right.
stuff. So we're going to have to build it into the budget for next year.
Okay, but then if the insurance would want it by March, it's not going to be in the budget.
That the budget.
We'll have to come to,
We
we'll have
need
to come
to
here with an
understand
idea.
the extent of
Exactly.
the,
Yeah.
okay. So we've got, the next two items are covered by reports that are on the agenda today, and the final two items on the action list are kind of closed out. Okay? Any further comments on the action list? Anybody happy to propose? Councillor Morehouse's reaching. Councillor Chuko seconded. Everybody's voted in favour. Thank you very much. Okay, the next item is a review of the financial regulations. The background to this was at the annual meeting, we were presented with a new set of financial regulations which incorporated some changes. I've done a trawl through this, and we've got a number of changes highlighted in the report. So I suggest we just go through each change and make sure everybody understands the change and if we're happy with it. So the first item was the previous financial regulations were modelled on the NALC, and there was a load of introductory notes, so you will see those have been deleted. And then on page 3 you can see the revised index for the notes. The first change comes on page 5 under 2.6, where, and this is to do with at least once in each quarter, a member other than the chair shall be appointed to verify bank reconciliations. And it's been included that as part of that process, they should also verify invoices. Now, I don't know if anybody's got any thoughts about that, but that's a huge job. That's not normally associated by the NALC model. That's now been imposed on the councillor who does that check. So is everybody happy that the review should be to go through each and every invoice and verify
I
it?
don't think every invoice needs to say verify invoices. It doesn't say every invoice.
Oh.
It just, I think it's what checklist more than that.
Oh.
Because of the clerk is now verifying the invoices when they do payments.
I think, I could be wrong, but I think it may be yourself that actually raised at one stage that you think that someone should be reviewing the invoices as part of the internal process. And it was spoken about at the end of the year. I just thought it would make more sense, or the suggestion is it makes more sense to do it on more of an interim basis, because it is just a visual check on what is being paid out. Those items are already being reviewed by numerous people already, not least the town clerk who doesn't do the payments will review the invoices as part of their procedure, and also when the payments, when the invoices are being paid, they are reviewed by the people, by two members, by two councillors who are actually making the payments. And if they have any questions or uncertainties about any of the items being paid, they do query it and ask what that's being paid for and why it's being paid. So there are processes in place. It's just whether or not you want this to be brought forward whereby there is a physical check of invoices as you go, in addition to what is already the internal and external audit taking place. So it's a decision to be taken.
only there because it was suggested. And,
Yeah, that's a really good, brings it to the point that whoever's instigated the works has approved the invoice. The town clerk has approved the invoice. We as a committee have approved the invoices. The two councillors who are making the payment run have approved the invoices. I don't really see the need for another verification along the way.
Yeah. So what I would say is when we do the payments online, we're not approving invoices. What our role is if we've got any questions, queries about invoices, we contact the RFO. So it's very much pinpoints. It's not so we may have 30 or 40 invoices within a payment run. I do not come in and look at those 30 or 40 invoices, but I might flag up some issues. I then check with the finance officer before I approve it.
the town clerk very much is checking the individual invoice, which is something that we brought in probably, since the start of the new year. And so that's a process, and so she's common sense checking and making sure that you're paying the people that we say you're paying, and it's fair to what she expects.
Well, I don't see any benefit in burdening the councillor with that task. Okay. Are we all agreed on that?
Can't change rules in financial
No, I understand, but I'm suggesting that we should update the financial rates now and bring them to full council. Unless anybody else is objecting. The next change was on 3.8. The council shall ensure about the internal auditor. The new words are maybe a little bit clumsy and perhaps need reviewing, because as a bullet point is that the internal auditor and then the internal auditor is repeated, and I think it should potentially benefit from to take any necessary actions arising to be on track for the external audit at the end of the financial year. I think just a few little changes there would make that a little bit more flowing. Anybody object to that? The next thing, 4.2, there is after the HR committee at least annually. I think that needs to be deleted. Just to say by the HR committee by the end of October. So again, it's just something else.
Yes, I've got a comment on that. So, two things. Firstly, does this then need to be included in the terms of reference in the HR committee? It doesn't do already. I didn't get time to look at the terms of reference, but I think it needs to be in there because it's a responsibility if we agree it. But then I also have slight concern that the HR committee only meets on a quarterly basis. The meeting this year in October is on the 5th of October. That will almost certainly be too early in the cycle for looking at budgets, particularly as we're undertaking a broader review of roles and responsibilities in any case. So I'm just slightly concerned what the HR committee might be doing around the budget for staff for next year, when probably the finance officer is still working on it on the 5th of October. I could be wrong. It then puts an onus on you to have the staffing budget available for discussion on the 5th of October. On the 2nd of October.
I don't necessarily have an issue with it. There are a number of unknowns which come into play here. One of them being that the actual payments are set by the
NJ.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah. That's it. And they are this year, or the union this year, are recommending that someone takes action, that they strike for more of a pay increase for those members. That's not obviously at this level, but it still filters down because it affects the pay rates. Now, if that takes place in September, which is being spoken about all the September time, if it takes place in September, the question is, will they have published and agreed pay rates for next year? This year, by that time. So there is a risk that we will be working off estimated costs, but I don't think we do much else. And from my point of view, I I can prepare, the budget by that date. That's not an issue for me. We will have to know if we're planning on employing different people or less people and things like that. But we will know those decisions by then. It's just really whether or not there's.
Well, I think it is a question about the manning and the grades, if there are any changes to the grades that the HR committee has got approval of, because the HR committee doesn't really approve the actual salary base rates that are set up.
Yeah, so, and that would then go to my point is we have to understand what the role of the HR committee is in the process, what it is being asked to do. Because if that's not clear, or if it's a abstract review, then it's a pointless review. So it's just being clear about what's listed.
So can we ask the officers to take that away and look at that, please? Okay, thank you. The next one was on 4.5. Again, I think it's just the wording, because we've actually got kind of spending requests and so forth, and I think it's really should read something like councillors and committees shall review the previous budget and identify any spending requests or amendments type thing. I just think the wording just didn't sit comfortable.
Sorry, Councillor Green, is this your amendments in there, or are these that you want, the ones that you made up? I'm not really clear.
The amendments in 4.5, so each committee has been deleted, and the items in red are what has been put into the 2026 regulation.
Sorry, so what's wrong with it? Councillors shall review spending requests and submit any proposed amendments to financial agenda not later than November. So what's wrong with that?
Well, I think that spending requests and submit any proposed amendments. I think the way it's worked, which I understood was the reason for you updating the regulations, was to reflect the modus operandi that's adopted, whereby the RFO issues out a form asking for spending requests to councillors to be submitted and committees to be submitted by a date. That's what's happened last year.
Okay, so that's what it says. Council shall review spending requests and submit any proposed amendments to the committee, not so.
But the councillors draft the spending requests.
Well, they do. They submit their pro formas. That's exactly what they do.
Yeah, but it says it shall review spending.
FGP review the spending requests. They shall review their spending requests and submit any amendments to the committee.
Well, I make suggestions.
Yeah.
Councillors shall review their spending requests through the relevant committee, and so that is the committee that submits proposed amendments, isn't it?
I think it's councillors submit proposed amendments.
So to make it even simpler, it should read, I think, councillors shall submit any proposed, any spending requests to the finance and, well, it actually goes into the town clerk, to the town clerk for the finance and general purposes committee to review, and then just finish up in terms of the timings around that. So I think that's the process. Councillor submits to the town clerk, then goes to FGP to review, and then goes forward to the town council.
Right. The next one is on item 5.2, where or 520, sorry, an official order or letter shall be issued for all works or goods above £500 excluding VAT, and this clause has been deleted. Sorry?
Can you clarify what it is?
Because you don't raise a purchase order for a purchase of that size. The purchase orders that exist in the purchase order process is for higher items. So if the council has approved that, for example, otherwise effectively, technically, the electricity bill is going to be coming up for approval as a purchase order. Every ongoing expense will fall into that track. So whereas there is a already detailed things produced by now as to how we should process and agree purchase orders. For it to be at £500 is quite extreme for a council this size. It doesn't affect me, it just means that the work that my colleagues are doing, every single thing will come to one of the committees and it will delay every acquisition. So every piece of work, even though it's within the budget that's already been agreed. So Julie's got £5,000 to spend on doing up the outside of this building. He can't do that, he can't do the £500 item or £600 item, even though it's within his budget, without first coming to committee and getting that agreed. So it's whether or not he wants to be taking on the responsibility for every acquisition that's done, or just the ones which are the high ticket matters.
Yeah. Councillor Black?
I've been trying to listen to what the RFO is. The limit of £500 could be far too low. If we need, is there a limit that we should be looking at things in a bit more detail? Well, I don't know what that limit is. It's 3,000.
It is actually already in there under the purchase order procedure. So whereas this has been done to highlight, this has been done to highlight the changes or the errors, there is a section in there on the purchase order procedure that's now have already put in, and it contradicts the £500 limit.
And what does Mark suggest?
I can't remember actually
It
where
doesn't
that is.
matter, we can do what we do, as long as it's not involved.
I mean, set the bar at a higher, at a much higher level, at a sensible level, for the kind of business we do.
Yeah, so we've got purchases of so much, say for example £10,000 coming to full council. We've got purchases of X, and I'm making this up as I say.
Yeah,
Purchases so much going to a committee. Purchases so much going to the chair, and so there are already set limits within the purchase order process, and this is just kind of kicking against it.
Extra sentence,
Yeah.
So we already, let me be clear, we already have limits set for a number of purposes, and so therefore you're suggesting, Sophie, that we, this £500 one is redundant, is that?
Yeah, it's just extra
Right,
words
well,
really, and
that-
it's slightly contradictory to the main.
Then let's leave it out, if we've already got other limits.
Councillor Pennington?
Yes, thank you. Yes, I had two questions. One similar to Councillor Black, namely, is this a problem actually of thresholds and so on? Is it simply that the procedure is too onerous for small items? Secondly, I wonder what then, if the whole procedure is abolished, what constitutes the financial commitment of the council? An official letter is a kind of a contract, but what would replace it in those in this situation?
That's Spencer, 6.7 on the next page, the council have delegated authority, so that is, I delegate it, but, you know, I talk to Julian, I talk to the members of the team. Any payments of 3,000, excluding VAT, within an agreed budget. 10,000 excluding VAT in the case of serious risk to delivery of council service or public safety. So those are the main things.
Can I just confirm, these have not changed very much from last time?
These have not changed, these terms are exactly the
Okay.
same, terms of reference are the same.
We would not have been following that £500 process because it's
Scrap it.
yeah.
Carry on.
Okay, everybody happy with that? It's scrap process, all right. Just so everybody is aware, because when these regulations came out in May, we didn't have time to reflect on some of these things. The next item is in section 7, where I've highlighted that the RFO and the town clerk shall be appointed as service administrators. And then what's happened in the sections below, 7.4 and 7.5 and so forth, is the service administrators have been taken out and it's just the RFO. So we've actually got a single point of vulnerability, for want of a better description. If the RFO wasn't available, is somebody trained up to be able to make the payments and work the system?
Yes, I am.
Right, so
7.5, in the prolonged absence of the RFO, another delegated officer shall set up payments due to the return before the return of the RFO. So the primary responsibility falls to the RFO. Another officer, who would normally be me, will do it in the absence of the RFO.
And we already have that process in place as a documented item.
So I go back to 7.1, what's the benefit of deleting, of you not being appointed as the service administrator in the first instance?
It says, I think it says I am, doesn't it? The RFO and the town clerk should be
Appointed,
Yeah.
but then it's been deleted at 7.4 and 7.5.
I think the thinking was that the primary responsibility should always fall to one person with a backup to somebody else, so that we've got clear division of power.
As long as there are continuity arrangements in place, so that, the business cannot.
May I say that if it was changed to just service administrator, I could walk away from my responsibility and say, I'm not doing it. And you do it, and then it's really should fall
No,
on you to do
because
it.
the service administrator has been defined as the RFL
Yeah.
and
And the town clerk. Yeah.
I'll just say another, apparently you've got to, and the alternative, to say the alternative service administrator. That gives you the,
The issue with that is if we have just the other service administrator, what happens if John's broken his leg, was in hospital in traction for 6 weeks, and I have a flu on the day of payments? That's why we want to have another delegated officer, so that it can be done.
okay.
Sensible.
All right, just as long as we're all aware. Then over the page, the kind of the numbering at 7.7 just falls off the shelf a little bit there. Is everybody happy with the changes under section 9 payment cards?
No, sorry, can I just go back, went through some quickly. 7.12, can we, it says about data held should be checked regularly. That's vague. So could we add in at least every 2 years? So previously was every 2 years, so it should be done regularly. And I assume the inference is that we done more often than every 2 years, but I think we still need that rider in there.
Right.
I'm not saying anything.
Or it can be done, yeah, I mean, I'm happy either way, but without some time frame, it means regularly can be interpreted in any way, which way possible.
I think it was changed from the point of view probably of it being too open, too slow.
Yes.
It could take 2 years before you can actually identify that details are wrong. So it's about making it more of a regular thing, but the wording there is, so I don't know. Are you fine with that? Because it's probably for that itself. Because that's what you're actually doing that, we've done, you check the balance there.
County test, they've changed on written. Yeah, I mean, I check.
When I'm doing it, I'm checking every invoice, which is normally got the payment details on. You're doing the same, we're also checking the mandate, so you're also checking it, so we're actually doing it virtually every time the payment's been done.
Yeah.
But
So,
I guess there should be a backstop on it, it's what the same.
so what do you want to try and?
An example's come up
Same.
actually just this last month is the fact that the people who look after the hygiene in the toilets have changed their direct debit sometime last year and haven't told us. And it's an annual payment. So the payment went out and came back. And so we haven't paid them yet as a result of it. And but that wouldn't get picked up probably by an individual, because unless someone's going to go through and manually phone every single supplier and say, please do your details. We do it from the paperwork, and that's what we're checking back to. So it's just really what the wording is, I think is.
So this step is a outside looking in. So changes are made and they get recorded. This is an additional step where you look at the supplier details. For example, if an employee should commit fraud with an outside organisation by moving the payments elsewhere, that won't be spotted unless it's done at whatever point.
So at the moment, in the current process, when invoices are being checked, the bank details on the invoice, and we have the mandate to receive directly. I'm doing it when I'm raising it, you're doing it when you're checking it. So it's being done every single payment at the moment, but that's just what the process is now.
So I think this is obviously from now, I think the, so this is suggesting perhaps that we, once every insert time frame, we ring up every single supplier and say, please can you tell me your bank details? How often do we want to do that?
That wouldn't be allowed, no. because you cannot get verbal confirmation over the phone, because that could also be a trick as well. If anyone says our bank details have changed, I have to ask them to send it electronically. They do it in reverse order as well. If we send them details, we have to send it electronically. We can't just do it verbally
So
because.
do we need this sentence at all?
Sorry?
Do we need this sentence?
I just think that I mean it's in there, but it's because it's in the standard set. I think it's probably good to have some sort of visual check. We don't need to be contacting them if we're checking the invoices. If you've got an invoice with the payment details on it, then and as long as everything is checked at least annually, and it's been checked even more than that, then if you've got any question like saying that I haven't seen the thing for that because it's not an invoice, I can get you the information for that, or you can contact them directly, but then it just means that you're picking up the ones which are slipping through. Because there will be a few suppliers you don't want to put their details on the invoice. I can think of one plumber that doesn't do it there. And so it's a it's a good idea every now and then to do that check. So as long as that check's being done at a reasonable timescale, and if we say annually, it just means that if you're not seeing some details for someone, just make the inquiry with me or something, and I'll get the supplier to contact you, or you can contact them, whatever it might be, but they'll have to confirm it in writing.
Okay. Can we move on to the next one? Next one is the payment cards, credit cards, where kind of the two previous paragraphs have been replaced. Does anybody have any comments on these? My only comment is that it does, in the first sentence, it says a debit card can be used by officers only after authorisation by the RFO or the town clerk. Is this a general authorisation, or is this an authorisation on every occasion?
So, sorry, my case.
Just want to be clear.
Because I'm most involved in it. So the situation at the moment is that the RFO, as the main administrator of the bank account, is supposed to have the bank card issued in their name.
Right.
So if there is a card which is raised, it has my name on it saying that I'm the person who's authorised to make the payment. I can authorise other people to use that card to make the payments as well. As long as they're told that they can do it, they can make the payment because the order has gone through the other checks. But they're just doing it to obviously speed up the process. Everything is still happening as far as the checking of payments going out of the bank and verification and that side of it, so we can see what's going out and what's being paid for. But it's not changing anything. It's just that the limit there. Was it the limit that's been questioned?
No, it's not. It's whether you say to Julian, "Here's my card. Use it when you need it," or "Here's my card.
Yeah.
Use it for a specific
If anyone
occasion."
wants to use a card, it's kept in the safe, and they ask if they can use the card.
Right.
And it's
Some-
justified.
Some people ask me to actually give it to my hand, even though they might be in the safe than me.
Okay.
But that process is taking place at the moment. They will not do anything with the card unless it's been authorised.
We could add authorisation for each specific item.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you. Any other comments on the credit cards? The final one is item 10. The petty cash section has been deleted, and I understand from the town clerk that this is because you don't hold petty cash. But I struggle because when I look at attachment 5C, the financial cash book, there is an ordinary account petty cash set out there at the top of the page. Familiar? In 5C.
In this document,
In the document that we've approved tonight,
finance.
attachment 5C.
Sorry. So I know that with, I think what was the reference so I'll give it a turn over. So, on 5C, it should be, so we are showing £12.30 on there. Now that is just a residual balance that has been there from I would say 3 years ago, it's certainly when the system was manual, there was no petty cash operated. So there's £12.30 sitting in the tin in the safe, but we do not operate a petty cash system. It's not practical to. We don't like to hand out cash to people and say go and spend it. There's no need, it's just not appropriate these days, in the same way that in the time that I've been here, I've written one cheque. Cheques are being they're being disused by virtually every business. Cash is the same, we just don't operate cash.
Understand that, but like I say, there's this ambiguity in the report, so we need to either close this petty cash account, monies bank it, or remove that, or we
That's
need
a
to
fair argument.
keep-
We'll close the petty cash system down, that's not an issue.
Okay. All right, so that concludes all of those changes. So the intent then is that you'll update the financial regulations and bring them to the council. No need to bring them back to this committee, straight to the council. Yeah, everybody happy?
Yeah, let's propose that.
I'll second that. Everybody agree? Okay. The next item on the agenda is about Monk's Wall Nature Reserve, and to receive a report about the professional fees on this. Town Clerk, do you want to take us through this?
Yes, I'm sorry, this report is not as, there's three elements to it. The first is two items which are renewal of fees. The first one is fairly straightforward. The higher tier agreement is coming to the end of this year. We have had a capital claim of 38,000. We have annual payments of 3,320. Fins will renew, they will resubmit for 5 years for the new higher tier agreement, but they need to get on with it. And it'll take around 3 months. We're in July now, so it needs to be done by the end of the year, so we do need to get on and do that. I double checked with him, it is an annual payment of 10% of the amount, so I should anticipate, which is taken out once we receive the grant, so depending on the precise level of the grant, which at this point we can't know, it could be 320 quid or 370 quid or 380 quid, I don't know, but in that sort of order of cost. So firstly, is the council happy, the committee happy to approve that Fins should get on and renew the higher tier agreement with that fee? So that's the first one. The second one... Sorry,
just on that, can I be clear? It says in the report, historically there was a capital claim of 38,500. Are we anticipating, so how much are we actually anticipating getting as part of this countrywide stewardship? Just 3,000 a year, or
yes,
is it?
That's it. Yeah, he said that there's no scope for further capital claims at this time at Moxwell, unless we significantly change the nature of the reserve. But that's not a conversation for this meeting at this time. I don't think it's really.
Because I was just kind of concerned if they were getting 10% of
Yeah, I did double check that. Yeah, we're not going to be charged 3,200 plus 320 times.
Times 5 years.
I did check it. It's 320 quid or 380 quid or whatever the fee is. I don't know what it will be. It's 10% of whatever the annual thing is, but I don't know what the annual thing is. These grants change all the time.
Okay.
So that's that one. The second one is a little bit more complicated. It slightly arrived out of the blue. I got an email from Julian Sampson on the 29th of June about the renewal of the grazing licence. Historically, before any of the officers here were employed by the council, the grazing licence was paid, his costs were paid for during the DPS, and so therefore it was paid over automatically, and he has not charged anything. However, this year it's been slightly more complicated and involved due to the change in the grazing licence because of the planting of the whips in
one of the fields. And so Julia Sampson has asked, I can read the email. He says, I would have charged $220 each, but he didn't. This has been a lot of back and forth. I would have probably had, he says it would have been 440. So he's suggesting to sort of reach a compromise, 500 plus VAT for the last 3 years' work, 2 of which he did not charge at all, 1 of which is 440 plus VAT. And then in going forward, the renewal of the grazing licence will be much more straightforward and we can keep costs down. I think we have to probably budget going forward that we have to allow for 220 a year for the renewal of the grazing licence. But that's the future. Anyway, at this point, I would recommend to the committee that the FNGP resolve to pay for professional fees for the countryside stewardship scheme, and then also the renewal of this grazing licence. And those are the first 2 recommendations. The final recommendation is not a recommendation, it's just to sort of flag up to FNGP committee that I believe there are possibly some financial pressures at Monkswell Nature Reserve. We've got, the income is fairly fixed. We've got the grazing licence and the higher tier agreement. We think it'll be roughly the same, but I don't know at this point. The BPS scheme that we did get sums for has been phased out. We get minor income from the way leave because it's nothing very much. So we've got combined income of 4.5, and maybe a little bit more, and the warden costs 6 plus a bit, and then he's got a very expensive scheme of works that he's sort of got schedules going forward, and so that, there is a large reserve in the Monkswell Nature Reserve, but however, I just think there needs to be some mindfulness and oversight of the costs and going forward. But I have already raised that with Monkswell Nature Reserve Committee, and we're going to take it to Monkswell in September. So
we're just noting it, and I think we should just leave it there because it's for the Monkswell Nature Reserve Committee to have the first detailed discussion.
Yes.
I think it would be sensible for that committee to give an update, because according to this spending plan, some of the costs are in the past, in last year 2025. So to really understand where they sit and cash flow forecast associated with the rundown, so that we understand the risk. Yeah. Sorry, Councillor Penny.
Yes, thank you. I'm on the Monkswell committee along with Councillor Morehouse, and I don't recall us having discussed this question in detail. It does reflect some of the discussion that we've had, for instance, in the grazing rights area, but I think it would be good if we could address this a bit more in detail. Thank you.
Yes.
We're
down to do it in September.
I flagged it
beginning
up.
of September.
It's for September.
Yeah. My other comment on this is that this Mr. Sampson, if he's retired and he's charging VAT on his fees, or he's semi-retired, it just sticks out to me. Okay, everybody happy to note this report?
Well, we've got the 3 decisions.
Right.
Can I be excused?
Okay, thank you.
Please.
Yeah,
Chair,
you're
can I be
excused.
excused now?
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Morehouse. So the first one is to agree to Finn's continuing as the agent for us in this matter. Anybody willing to propose that?
I'm to propose and we pay the fees as are identified. Yeah, I'm to propose that.
Anyone willing to second? Councillor Pennington? Okay, so that's passed. Regarding the grazing licence, this proposal with Mr. Sampson, is everybody happy to pay him his fee as per the report. Anybody willing to propose?
I'll propose.
Second.
Yes, let's vote. I think we're all running out of steam and we're not.
Yes.
Come on, let's go. Let's get some pace.
And then the third item is to, or the fourth item is to note the budgetary recess.
Second.
Yeah, good. Moving on. Excellent.
Okay, thank you very much. So we come to the next item on the agenda, which is an update on the administration of the NatWest Bank account. John, do you want to take us through this?
Yeah, I mean, do I need to, I've obviously done a letter out to, a report out to everyone. Do I need to discuss anything more on it? It's really just an update at the moment. It's a situation that still needs to be finally resolved, but it is in progress now at long last. We did have, I've reported on what the issues were. It was very complicated, and I've suggested that as part of this, the ongoing review of banking facilities and everything else, that we just that I bring something to the next meeting, which takes it forward. Just to advance it, but we are, it is happening. We have got past the first issue, and I know that some of the councillors have already authorised some of the changes that need to be done.
Okay, you've made 4 recommendations. Are we happy to take all of these recommendations as one? Block, yeah.
What's reading out?
Anybody happy to? Want me to read them out?
Yes, as well. We're cool.
Okay, councillors, to note the extreme difficulties we have with the NatWest Bank, including the lack of input a manager has these days. When the process is finished, we will need to look at A, strengthening our banking systems and procedures, B, reviewing our banking partners and providers, and C, looking into restructuring how we bank, how many accounts we need, and to consider operating a number of interest-earning accounts to make dormant or unused funds work and generate some income.
Opposed?
Councillor Wiles?
I'll second that.
Councillor Black? Approved. Right, unanimously. Okay, we move to the assets report, attachment 10. To receive a report from the property manager. Julian, do you want to take us through this one?
Yes. Chair, how would you like me to do this? Because there's a lot of information, this is a huge document. I mean, this is a, I could talk hour and a half, 2 hours, and if anyone wants that.
Short and sweet, Julian, because it's
Well, everyone's received this document. Everyone has received the review. So could I just take questions on the chair? Would you like me to go through each property in detail? How would you like to proceed?
Well, it is a detailed report, and I think when it goes to council, it needs to be in a more summarised state at kind of the next time. I've kind of been through it. I've got kind of a couple of kind of comments, because I think you infer that you could potentially sell the drill hall. Is that while the tenant is in, or
Yes.
and so forth?
Yes.
And so forth. So that is a major kind of strategic thing that
Yes.
needs to be kind of pointed out. Some of the other buildings, not that I'm thinking through it, Fishergate and Boatman's Chapel. I think the scheme, your proposal to demolish Boatman's Chapel again is, highly controversial, and I think, we need to go to the full council.
Yes.
And so forth. And with Fishergate, it's really a question of raising funds and getting outside sources of income to pay for the refurbishment.
Yes.
But I'm happy to note the report. Councillor Wiles, if you wanting to make a comment?
Yeah, it's great the amount of information in this. Well done to Julian for bringing all this into a report. I think I agree, when it comes to council, it needs to be in much more condensed tabular form, so that we can see for each property, you know, the terms of the lease, the time, the length of the lease, the gross rental income, the net rental income.
It isn't on there, I have to say.
And also the expenses that we've incurred on the properties, because I think
Yes.
that's the key thing. Some of these assets, not so much on this report, but for the Tollbridge Fund, they're not assets, they're liabilities, because we're spending more on them than we're actually receiving in rent. So we need to be able to see that at a glance,
Yes.
and then to make some kind of assessment of, do we keep it, do we dispose of it, or do we change the terms of the lease, or enforce the lease, or rent review, or whatever it might be in each case. But yeah, it's good to have all this information here.
Thank you. I think Councillor Chu.
Yeah, so I had a question around the action plans that are included when the question is whether these are parallel activities or sequential, because if you take Chapel but also Cowleys Meadow as two clear examples, they both have 3 years duration, so that are we saying that if we were to approve the way forward on these, we're looking at a 3-year timeline for conclusion? That sounds...
So I'm looking at the Chapel and I'm saying here 6 months, 6 months, 6 months, 6 months.
Yeah.
Not 6 months after, and then another 6 months after.
So it
another
isn't,
6 months.
yeah, and that's
within 6 months.
that needs to be called out, because my interpretation could have been, and therefore that's why I'm asking the question, that it was sequential.
No.
And that would have 3 years to deal with it.
Oh, no, no.
So that needs not to identify.
Okay. Councillor Black?
Yeah, I like the idea that you can condense this down, but I think for the amount of detail that Councillor Wells is asking for, I'm not sure you're going to be able to condense this down very significantly, because that information, 99% of it is already in here. It's just, you've got to plough through something.
I think, I guess it would need like a summary to start with, so someone can actually see and go, oh yes, this one, this is how much it is, this is what it is, and in a, you know, all on one document so they can see it, and then refer to the report, but it's more information. If I just do all the columns, someone's going to say, oh, yeah, but what are you going to do next with it? What are the options? What is the current situation? What is the market? So I think they need to go hand in hand.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Councillor Chu.
So I don't think you lose detail, we must keep the detail. I mean, there are a couple of very, very provocative, rather than controversial, provocative options that we would have to think through very sensibly as a full council about how we take those forward. So if you deal with an asset that you suggest you might want to, and I'm not saying specifically about Chapel, but any asset you want to either sell or you might want to demolish, we need to consider whether that is just within the council to determine, or whether we maybe need to go out beyond the council.
I was just really going to add, from having read them and reviewing them all together, was the fact that I think he's pretty much playing devil's advocate here. He's bringing across what the situation is. Obviously, it falls upon the officers, the councillors, to obviously decide what they want to do with what is deemed to be an asset and not an asset. Something that isn't generating income isn't an asset in the same way as a business, is it? But do we need to maintain it because it's something for the town to, you know, or whatever it might be? So there's a lot of discussions that probably should take place around that, and it probably starts a discussion. There's an awful lot of work to just start the discussion, but that probably is what has to take place. You know?
Given the level of detail and the emotion and the heat that some of this will generate, are you really going to put it into a normal STC meeting? Because I think it will run out of time. It'll dominate the whole meeting. There are some, especially when you take in SDBF and STC, I do think you might want to think very carefully whether you have an extraordinary meeting or basically almost a single item agenda. This is going to take, this will generate a lot of discussion, and some of it, as you say, may be devil's advocate and so on, but I'd be surprised if you can do this as a little part of a much bigger meeting. I would ask you to think hard about that and possibly have a separate meeting.
Okay, any other comments? Well, finally, Julian, thanks for doing this. It's long anticipated that we get this strategic review. And I hope this sounding and feedback, the comments that we've made tonight are helpful for you taking it to the next step. And I would invite all councillors, if they've got any other comments, to speak to Julian as he drafts and prepares this detailed report. So, sorry.
If the council wanted to have an EGM, the only available days would be the 28th and the 30th of September. The rest of September is Monday and Wednesday all the way through.
Well, it's up to Julian, would you be
Well,
ready?
that would fit in with me. I mean, I've done most of the work.
Yeah.
I went all the work, really. I think it's down now to decisions to be made, and options to be, but I understand, you want to see it in a summary so you can just, a snapshot of what it is, but yeah, that they would definitely work.
I wouldn't want to make that decision just here now.
There's a couple of, just to point out, there's a couple of civic duties coming up in September as well for the mayor and myself, as acting town sergeant, so we'll have to look at that for the diary.
Okay, all right, so we'll leave that with the mayor and the town clerk to resolve. So the recommendation is to note this report. I'm happy to propose that. Anyone willing to second?
I'll second it.
Okay, passed unanimously.
I'm very sorry, I'm going to have to leave, because I have to work at 3 in the morning. I've not eaten and I've got Halloween with this hair tomorrow as well.
Lucky you, which is
So I need my beauty sleep.
Yes.
Okay, so the last item on the agenda is the date and time of next meeting, which is the 23rd of September at 6:30. So with that, we'll close the meeting. Thank you, everybody.